Well, here we are, Friday, February 13th, 2015. That stuff's a bunch of hogwash. I hope you don't believe in that. Friday the 13th was just something I think somebody made up. It may be a real phobia, a real fear. I know that a lot of buildings don't have 13th floors and things like that. And the movies, of course, made it that much bigger and that much more mysterious and that much more fearful. But it's really just another day. And this is a day that we get to celebrate our relationship with the Lord, because He is definitely bigger than any kind of fear or mystery that Friday the 13th might have. But we're going to celebrate today and focus on the joy of God. And I'm not going to really do a lot of talking. I want to let the songs that are going to follow or that are in the comment section, of the Facebook post. Hope that y'all are taking the time to look at those, man, because those songs, really minister to me, and they're powerful. And I pray that they do the same for you. We're just going to focus on joy. We're going to focus on worship. We're going to focus on God being our joy. The songs that are going to follow the post in the comment sections are going to be great. They're going to deal with joy. But first, it's super late, and I worked all day long, and my day involves a lot of windshield time driving around. And sometimes I get tired, and the head starts bobbing and the eyelids get real heavy. But a surefire thing that always gets me going and gets me up, no matter how late or how many hours I may be driving, is when I start listening to good Christian music. And I have several CDs and now that have access to the internet and can pop things up that way. But, man, there's some great songs. And like I said before, man, music really ministers to me. There's some great Christian artists out there that put out some great music. And not to plug anybody, but as you can tell in a lot of the posts, Chris Tomlin, David Crowder, Gateway Worship, Carrie Job, Hillsong. Those are just a few of the bands and artists that are just powerful, really minister, and I hope that they're ministering to you as you're checking out the post. But one thing I do want to share before we get into the Psalms and the songs, because it's going to be real quick, is as I noticed something as I was driving, and something happens, man, when you put on that good Christian music and a good song coming on, or maybe it's a song that you haven't heard in a while, and man, it starts ministering. And secular music does that too. You hear it and you begin to think of things and stuff pops in your head. But when you play Christian music, it doesn't just minister to the feeling or the senses. Man, it ministers to your spirit. It ministers to your soul. It ministers to the very core of where you're at. And that's the difference maker, man. Secular music can fun and jump and all that kind of stuff and move and get you going, make you feel a certain way. But it doesn't minister to your soul. Minister to your spirit. That's the stuff that Christian music is. And that's why we're taking the time this month to focus on songs that target the relationship with us, between us and God, singing to Him, not just about Him. But I love it, and I'm so guilty of this, and I don't care either. I'm unashamedly do this. But how many times have you turned on the radio, heard a good Christian song, and you start bopping the head, you start singing some of the lyrics, and then you start maybe doing the little drum on the steering wheel, or playing the guitar while you're driving, one hand in it, or maybe knee in the steering wheel. Don't do that. My wife always gets at me when I try to do that. But you're going at it, and then you're having a good time, and maybe you're lifting the hands up a little bit, and rocking out, and doing the bob and the hands up in the air, whatever it may be, as you're driving around, and then you all of a sudden realize you're stopped, you're parked, and you look over, and there are actually people watching you, which you may stop, or you may just kind of give them a little nod, and then just keep bouncing and keep jamming and keep worshiping. I don't know how you do it, but I do know, man, that there's something about good Christian music, and it speaks to our spirit. And I don't think there's any coincidence that when the Bible talks about God being our joy, that He uses music, He uses song to speak to our heart, to speak to our spirit, to help us connect with Him in a deeper and in a closer way. And man, God is our joy. He doesn't just give joy, He is joy. Psalm 43:4 says this: "Then I will go to the altar of God, to God, my joy and my delight. I will praise you with the lyre, O God, my God." I love that because, again, it targets who God is. Not just singing about him, but who he is. He's our joy, our delight. And he's the one that fills our spirit. He's the one that gets the toe tapping when we hear music. He's the one that gets us jumping up and down and jamming and doing the head nod and doing the hand wave, the fist bump, however you want to choose to worship God, throwing your hands up in the air, crying, screaming, jumping up and down, throwing a party, whatever it may be, when the Spirit takes over you and that you just let go, man, there's freedom in that. There's freedom when he gives you joy, that we can sing to him and praise him. So we're going to focus on joy, God being our joy, and joy isn't revolved around or based on circumstances either. Just because good things happen, joy is great, but even when bad things happen or negative things happen or things that weigh you down, you can still have joy, because joy is about Jesus, not about circumstance, not about feeling. Happiness is about feeling and circumstance. Nothing wrong with happiness. It's okay. But you can still find joy when things aren't going so well. And that's all because of who God is, and that he's greater than our sin. He's greater than the circumstances. He's greater than our feelings, and we can find joy in him. And another verse we're going to use is Psalm 87:7. And it talks about how all our fountains are in you, God. All our fountains, meaning that everything that we get flows out of him. Everything that goes on in our life comes from him. That I don't create anything, nothing starts with me. Everything starts with God, and it flows out of him, through me, into those around me. I never want to take and hold on to those things that God has. I just simply want to be a funnel, a vessel that he uses to pour through, not just to pour into, but pour through. So those are the two verses we're going to use. And the songs we're going to use: tap your feet, hand clapping songs that get you going, get you motivated, and they're just fun songs. They're fun songs, and God is about fun. He's about joy. And so however you want to choose to worship with these songs, man, feel free to do that. Chris Tomlin, All My Fountains Are in You, God, and Delirious, as they sing about the happy song and why we can be happy, why we can have joy. And it's all because of God. It's all because of him. So have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.